You do perform abortion there, correct?
It's one of the most controversial issues of our times.
He looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, I can't do this.
It will be the most agonizing decision of their lives.
All I remember is he called and he said, she does have it. Do you want to terminate?
This hour, a groundbreaking documentary.
Like I said, I'm not going to criticize the people who have made that decision.
Facing reality, choice. Here's Edie Hill.
The Roe v. Wade decision in 1973 sparked the longest-running debate in America today, one that splits the country, dominates national politics, consumes the Supreme Court. Abortion is a hard topic to talk about, and most Fox viewers know both sides of the debate. But tonight, you won't hear expert commentary or partisan shouting or even anyone claiming to have the answers. Instead, Fox News has spent the past year looking beyond the pitched political battles to the human reality. All you'll see and all you'll hear are everyday Americans confronting one of the most momentous and wrenching decisions of their lives and making their choice. We followed 3 young women. We start with a 20-year-old from Arkansas named Kayla.
I asked her one day in the car if I was a mistake. She said there were no mistakes in God's eyes and that I was just a surprise.
But yeah, she was a surprise. But she was a good surprise.
Or they got married when my mom was 8 months pregnant. So they were married a couple months and decided to get divorced. And my mom and I moved back here and my granny helped raise me. I just like church because I really, really like being around my family.
Religion has always been important to me. I'm a Christian, and Jesus plays a very integral part of my life.
I went through the abstinence stage, no sex till you're married.
In fact, through high school, she wore a chastity ring.
It's a big deal with youth in the church. So I made that decision myself. I bought the ring myself. I appreciated it, and I respected it, and I respected myself. His eyes just captured me. He has these huge brown eyes and beautiful eyelashes, and he glanced over at me, and he caught me looking at him. I was like, oh. I turned away, and I decided, hey, I think I like this guy. We hit it off right off the bat. We stayed the night. But this is a time in my life I wasn't too proud of. I was partying a lot, trying drugs that I said that I would never do. Taking the pill every day at the same time was not one of my priorities, obviously. The day that I found out I was pregnant, smoked my last cigarette. I'd had my last drink the night before, haven't touched cocaine since. So my mom goes, no, you're not. You're not pregnant.
You're kidding.
I said, yes, I am. No, you're not.
I think actually were my precise words. You're kidding. I'm going to be a grandma. She said, yeah, I'm going to have a baby. So.
No, girl, I came and crashed. I was so tired. I was excited. My roommate was pregnant, so I was excited that we were going to be able to go through it together. I was going to get a lot of support from her.
I got excited for a while. For a few weeks, I was pumped, telling people. I got online. I registered at Babies R Us and stuff, I did get excited for a while. A kid isn't the worst thing, in all aspects.
We got baby crazy. We
did.
Bought prenatal pills, cocoa butter.
We had everything.
Well, yeah, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy that she had put herself in this situation. I wasn't unhappy with her with the fact that she had gotten pregnant. Not so much that. I'm not naive to believe that, she's not, having sex at her age.
She told me not to have sex, but I don't know. It was so hard for me to ever listen to her because I knew that she had me way outside of marriage. I knew that she had my brother when her and my stepdad weren't married,
I think I was probably a little bit better off financially than she is at this point, but I told her that we would support her in whatever decision that she made. I knew it would be hard, but we would do it.
I was happy. I thought that Billy really cared about me. I really cared a lot about him. And if he was willing to be there for me and the baby, I was all for it. I didn't see why not.
I probably tried to swing her more toward not having the baby. In fact, she got mad at me at one point when I talked about that.
And I got all the negative feedback from my family. My friends were saying if they were in my shoes that they would abort it.
Said, you know, there are people who would take the baby, would, you know, pay the medical bill if that's what you chose to do. And she's like, no, she didn't think she could actually carry a baby 9 months and give it to someone else.
Billy's friends gave him a lot of grief. They criticized him a lot, and he took it out on me. I was really unhappy about it, and I knew it wasn't going to be a good situation. He was really hateful. It made me realize what kind of a father he would be if he was going to resent me and if he was going to resent this kid for the rest of his life. Why go through with it? Nobody deserves to go through that.
My husband went to talk to her boyfriend and told him that he needed to be a man, quote unquote, and stand by her, and if she was going to go have the procedure done, that he needed to be a man and be there with her.
And we finally get in the place. He couldn't give the receptionist the money. I had to take the money out of his hands, give the lady the money, and right when she called my name, he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, I can't do this. And he started crying, gave me a really big hug, and got the money, and we walked out. He said, if you don't want to go through with this, you're going to have to buck up and take some responsibility. And he said, oh, yeah, that'll be fine. I'm okay with it. But he wasn't. He says one thing and does another thing, and I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't put up with it. And, you know, 3 weeks later, I said, to heck with it. If you don't want to be here for me like I need you, then I'm not gonna have your baby.
I have 3 daughters, and I had a son that passed away 2 years ago of SIDS, and I had another little boy this year that I did place for adoption and ended up getting pregnant too soon, again, right after having him. And so right now my husband and I have split up, and so I don't think right now, I don't even have my other kids that right now I can raise another child. And I had my first daughter at 19. I didn't even think of adoption or abortion just because of the Catholic religion. They don't believe in abortion. It's like totally against everything they believe in, so. At that point, I was thinking, oh God, I'm adopted. Why did my mom give me up for adoption? I was kind of mad at my biological mom. So at that time, I was like, I would never give my kid up for adoption. I think that's just wrong, so. I met my husband. I had met him, and he came and picked me up, and we went to his house and hung out and watched a movie, and I never went home. He's like, I want you to come stay with me and move in and get your daughter. And I moved in and ended up getting pregnant. And then I got pregnant again, and I had Zayden. He had passed away of SIDS, and he was 6 weeks old. He was born May 13th and died June 26th.
When she lost her child, you know, then it was a terrible time, and she started in seriously with the drug.
My use got really bad with cocaine when he passed away. I was using every single day. I didn't have to even think about anything. It would just kind of put me on my own world, and my mother-in-law came and got my kids. And at that point, I didn't care because I couldn't even take care of them anyway. I went to Colorado and ended up going back with my first daughter's dad and ended up getting pregnant. And of course, he still didn't want to be a father. So I told him that I was leaving, and I called the adoption agency, and they said to come out to San Antonio and we'll make an adoption plan. I felt bad. I felt guilty, but I don't know. I felt bad, and I was hoping everything was all right. It was very, very hard, but when I signed my papers, it was like this relief feeling, like it's okay, it's gonna be all right, it's over with. It was very emotionally hard having to hand him over, but after a couple of days, I was okay with it. Actually, when I first got my pictures, I was okay with it, because I knew how much they loved him, and it just showed me in the pictures. I've gone through the adoption, and now it's like I'm pregnant again, so it's like everything's happening all at one time again. Is this the park that you were talking about?
It's your deal. I mean, she can't decide it, he can't decide it, I can't decide it. Nobody at the shelter, nobody can decide it but you. Why? Because you're carrying them. That's why. So.
But my question to you is, if your girlfriend had a baby, what would be your opinion on it?
Right. If you were my girlfriend and that was my kid, I'd say no. Don't get an abortion. Don't give it up for adoption. I'd keep it. If you didn't want it, I'd keep it. He'd be mine. My responsibility.
I commend that.
You do perform abortion there, correct?
Right now, as sick as I feel today, I'm so ready to just get it over with.
10 o'clock? Okay. And Saturday?
Whoa, this is really gonna happen. It feels like it's the right decision, and it's not like I'm having too much second thoughts anymore. But I also feel like it's not only my decision, and that's what I'm starting to think now.
I want lots of kids. I've always wanted lots of kids. Whenever I was little, I always had all my Barbies. And all my Barbies were married and had tons of kids. Every one of them. Brooke Jolene Bridges, and I am 26 years old, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I am 26.
Thomas Arthur Bridges, and I'm 28.
Adam was only a year old.
Yeah, a year and a half old, yeah.
So we started, I mean, pretty soon after him. Wanted so bad to be pregnant and tried and
Yeah.
about 3.5 or 4 years we tried. So, and then we just pretty much given up. So.
Well, we didn't really give up. It was just if it was going to happen, it was going to happen, so.
Well, yeah.
My God, she could have owned stock in EPT. Seriously, because it's like she was taking a pregnancy test every month for 2 years.
Oh, jumping up and down and screaming, and
At first, I didn't believe her when she told me.
had to call Tom and call every person I knew.
I told her, I said, you need, to take another test.
She called me, and then of course, I called everybody. Who'd you call first, me or Tom?
Tom.
Oh, I figured you called me first.
And then me. Tom, and then me, and then...
Actually,
no, it
Jamie,
was me before you.
Jamie was the first to know because she was there with me.
Why Jamie?
Because she brought me the pregnancy test.
Oh.
You were all like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Calling Tom, calling your mom, jumping up and down and screaming.
I could hear her friend in the background screaming and hollering that she was pregnant, and it was quite the afternoon night of that day. I do remember that.
I had the crib set up, which is Adam's crib that he slept in. So I had everything up. The baby's room was cleaned out and all the baby stuff set up.
It was like she went from being Brooke to totally, all we talked about was she's gonna have a baby.
She'd already decided it was going to be a girl, so it was going to be frilly stuff.
You know, it was like, baby, baby. You're like, Brooke, there's other things going on in the world.
I knew from the beginning we were having a girl. I had a gut feeling. I knew she was a girl. Everything was so different with the pregnancies.
So is it fun having girls? It's a lot of hair to do. Yes, they're good. Take up the bathroom a lot.
I know that baby's had 1,000 names because they just keep changing the name. Oh, I like this name. I like that name.
Well, he loved the name, didn't you?
This
Marley?
name?
This one? I've had so many names picked out. So, but then my mom actually came up with this name. I feel like she's already got her own little personality, even though I don't really know her yet.
She likes kicking me in the butt when we're laying in bed.
Yes, she does.
Brooke Bridges.
Hello. I had a feeling that something wasn't right, and I'd had a lot of cramping.
Seemed like she was worried about a lot of little things that was happening. She's a little bit of a worrywart.
My sister was 20 weeks pregnant with a little boy, and they couldn't find a heartbeat. And then she'd found out that he had passed away.
Well, because I lost Samuel at about 18 weeks, Brooke, just kept thinking that if she would make it past that, make it past 18 weeks or make it to 20 weeks, it's like she had this magic number that once she made it to that point, she knew everything would be okay.
Kept thinking, okay, I'll get past the 20 weeks and then I'll be fine. So, we had an appointment right at 20 weeks, and that was because I had a lot of back pain. So they thought something might be wrong with my kidneys, and I went in and they did an ultrasound.
The sonographer, when she did her ultrasound, could not get a good 4-chamber view of the baby's heart. In other words, they couldn't see all 4 chambers individually.
When they first saw the hole in her heart, it worried both of us, but, we were thinking it's fixable. She's going to live a normal life.
I asked her if she would mind going to St. Louis to have someone do a high-level ultrasound to take a closer look at her baby because I had concerns.
Then they wanted us to, go have blood work and everything drawn, and, that, worried both of us.
They recommended that she have an amniocentesis to rule out a chromosome problem, which I do believe she initially declined.
My blood test came back that she had a 1 in 28 chance of having trisomy 18. So we had an amnio done the very next day after we got the blood test back.
Basically, trisomy 18 means that when the chromosomes split, and everyone usually has only 2 of every single chromosome, she has 3 of chromosome 18. So that means she has an extra set of that genetic material for chromosome 18.
I didn't really have any idea, what it was.
Trisomy 18 babies generally are small. Frequently on ultrasound, you will see abnormalities of their hands with their fingers overlapping one another. And generally, about 70% of the time, they won't survive to delivery. Only about 50% will survive the first week of life. Generally, they will die within hours to days after they're born.
About 6:30 or 7 o'clock that evening, the next evening.
Yeah.
That they called.
You were playing Connects
I was
with
playing
Adam.
Connects with Adam, and she answered the phone.
All I remember is he called and he said, she does have it. Do you want to terminate?
I thought she had threw the phone through the wall.
I do remember him saying that, well, you do realize she won't live more than a month. After that, it was a blur. I don't remember anything else he said.
When we return, Kayla, Jeannie, and Brooke make their decisions. A warning, what comes next is emotionally wrenching. Stay with us.
Open bottle.
I've done an abortion on a 9-year-old, and I've done an abortion on a 54-year-old, and all between.
Every day was different. Some days I said, okay, I'm gonna get rid of it, I'm okay with that. Other days I said, no, I can do this. But when it came down to it, I know that I can't do this by myself.
This is not a black and white issue. The woman who's making that decision is the only person that can make that moral choice for herself. And it's a very emotional decision.
It wasn't a good situation for the baby. It wasn't good for my health, my mental health. And Billy was about to go crazy. He was losing his mind.
I'm not in the business of murdering children. I'm in the business of saving the lives of my patients.
All my life, I have been so pro-life, and I never encouraged abortion. I never said that I would have one. And you never know until you're in the situation. It was hard, but it's the right choice.
My pastor, youth pastors, adults, people telling me that it was wrong. To believe that for so long and to be told for so long what was right and wrong when it came to abortion, abortion's wrong, you need to have the kid, to realizing that I didn't have to listen and that I could make my own decisions was difficult because I did look up to those people.
But the drug I'm giving her now kind of makes you weepy sometimes.
I think that the drugs kind of put you in a state of mind to where you're vulnerable and you don't really know what you're saying.
Come on, you're doing great.
It just kind of comes down on you at one point, laying on that bed, looking up at the ceiling and seeing white, but thinking everything. It's really emotional, and you can't really explain it unless you're in that situation.
I tell my patients that it's not going to be nearly as bad as they anticipate. You know, emotionally, it's tough.
Try to relax.
I was still losing a baby. Well, you know, not a life, but I was still, you know, losing that part of me, and just coming to grips with the fact that I wasn't going to be a mom.
I'm sorry. It's okay, sweetheart. It is okay.
I was sorry, and I am a little sorry that, you know, because I didn't want to get pregnant, and I wish it wouldn't have happened, but I can't change it. Just feeling that guilt, and it just coming out then. I don't feel like that now. I don't think I felt like it before. Maybe subconsciously I did, and it just came out at that moment.
No one gets pregnant so they can have abortions. And it's a very emotional decision.
They really try to make it to where you don't remember.
It does hurt, but she's not going to remember it.
Do you remember anything from last time? Was it awful last time?
Sir, I don't want to talk about it, okay?
Okay.
My mom's sitting beside me going, huh? Like, oh, you've been here before, and having to admit to her that I'd already had an abortion wasn't as tough as I thought it would be because I'm laying on a bed with an IV in my arm. And so I decided that'd be a good time to tell her that I'd already been there.
I was, well, shocked. I guess going through my mind was, Kayla, what are you thinking? You know? Why are you in this situation again?
The vast majority of women who have repeat abortions will have had a birth control failure. But if it's someone who hasn't used anything for birth control, or if they've used it ineffectively, you know, I feel like it's my failure because I haven't been able to convince them.
I knew that I'd messed up, and I knew that I didn't take the pill when I was supposed to. Even though I'd struggled with it previously, it was still hard. It was a hard decision.
It's not easy for mothers that are married, and it's an expensive thing, and it's a decision you really need to make and be with somebody that you care about, and that's after thinking that wasn't the case. That's never how I imagined it. I always wanted to be married. I always wanted it planned. So those boys, like, we weren't going to marry them. And then, you know, think about it. Okay, yeah, sure, they'll be there for like a year and a half or something. When they find their woman and they go off and get married, they're not going to give a crap about the kid.
No.
They're not going to care at all.
And writing a check just satisfied me being a dad.
I didn't even want to go
If
through
they would
all
do
that.
that.
If they would write the check, and that would probably be hell to go through that. now would be awful. So I think that that's for
Made the right
sure did the
decision.
right thing.
Yeah.
I think it's for the best. So I know it's for the best. You can make a mark now and go on with your life.
Being a single mom, 21 years of age, at a Southern Baptist church, you're not exactly accepted.
No. I think they talk a lot about accepting you, but I don't think they really do.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
No, they don't. But Jesus wouldn't do that, so I don't understand how they can do that.
I don't care. I didn't feel like putting up with criticism every single day, forever and ever. I know that I made the right decision both times. I know that I'm not ready to have a kid. I'm really, really excited now that I'm gonna get to go finish beauty school and get my career started. I'm gonna take every precaution possible to not get pregnant now until I'm ready. And I know that I'm not gonna be ready for a while.
Welcome back. Earlier this hour, we introduced you to 29-year-old Jeannie, who has given birth to 5 children by 2 fathers. One child died of SIDS. None of the rest live with her. And her last baby was born with a drug addiction. When we first met Jeannie, she was almost 14 weeks pregnant with her 6th child. Jeannie's choices: adoption, abortion, or keeping the baby.
I'm thinking about if it's really the right thing to do, if I would have any means of even keeping the baby, if I would want to go through an adoption again. I mean, all that's still playing in my mind, but in the back of my mind, it's like, you know what, why go through this all over again? You know, just kind of just do it and get it done with. Last night, I told him, I was like, I'm pregnant, and so he's like, well, you better.
You didn't know him?
No.
Oh, really?
I was thinking, you know, I'd just keep it a secret. But I called him and told him last night.
That's good.
He's like, well, I'm just glad that you told me, and just give me some time to think about it. I'm going to call him at 12:45 today, so.
Why don't you give me some reasons why it would be good to keep the baby?
It's life, for one, and it didn't, you know, it deserves a chance. At the same time, it didn't ask to be here, and I have other people's feelings that I need to consider beside my own.
And some reasons why it would be good to have an abortion.
To have an abortion, probably the good things that I look at is I wouldn't have to go through another pregnancy because I'm sick all the time, which takes a lot of energy out on me to where even some days I can't get out of bed. And if I can't do that, how am I going to work? And the timing, I do want to go back to school, what I'm thinking about right now, if I'd even be able to do that. Oh, my stomach hurts. I'm gonna feel like throwing up. Hey, babe. Sorry. I know you're working. Well, what do you think? I mean, what we talked about last night. And will you be there, though, to, like, support me in that? Well, all right, then. I guess then pretty much that's what we should do. Okay. He said he does not believe in abortion, and he thinks that it would be emotionally hard on me, and that he's here to back me up 100%, and he thinks that the best thing we should do would be to place it for adoption.
You're gonna be all right.
I think I'll be okay, hopefully. Just eat right and take my vitamins. It should be okay. I miscarried this year.
I got sick and I was cramping and I went to the hospital and they told me I was miscarrying. And I had to go back and get a DNC and that was it. Then I ended up meeting Chris. I got pregnant again and that's where I'm at now. Does that make more sense? This will be my 7th baby. I didn't think of anything else but adoption. The people who adopted my son are planning on adopting this baby also.
Everything okay?
Everything's good. Everything's going good.
Yes, really.
Yes. They pay for your rent and your food and your clothing, lights, phone, pretty much whatever you need to be comfortable to take care of you for the next, however long you're pregnant, and then after you have the baby, 6 weeks after that, they take care of you.
And I'm happy to hear that you are doing fine also.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Talk to you next week.
Okay, sounds good. I don't even associate with those kind of people, so I really haven't had a problem with it. I think when I do associate with them is when I have the problem with it. But if I'm not around it and I don't know people who do it, then I don't even think about it. I don't worry about it. So it's going fine. He don't use drugs around me. So
he does it on his own free time.
Yeah,
he does it with people around here.
When
that
he's not with
associate
me,
that
he
kind of
just
stuff.
walks around like the streets and tries and sells drugs.
And when he sees her, he's all, "Oh, I love you," and okay. Then later on, it's like, "F you." And, I'm gonna kill you, you dumb bitch, and you're a slut. You're a white this, and
I'm
you're
a white
trash.
that's what I am.
I made quite a few mistakes in the past, and being around bad elements and whatnot.
I was using, right? Yeah. So I kind of knew, I guess, that way.
Oh yeah, I was kind of selling, so.
I knew he sold drugs, though, because I was buying them from him. That sounds really bad, but it's true. And then we just started rolling around together.
I don't know, I've done it for 14 years, and I'm pretty much done with it.
He's on a work release program, and he's done in a week, so he'll be out. And so that's pretty much what I'm basing my decision on. When he gets out, and he's going to move in and see how, how it's going to go. Of course, nobody wants to give up their baby, And if I can provide the same they can, then I don't see any reason I shouldn't. But I just want to make sure it's going to happen. I'm going to be stable, and the baby's going to be stable, and he's going to be stable, and the baby's not going to deal with either of us going in and out of jail. And so that's a big concern of both of ours. My counselor, she even told me, she said, if you changed your mind, then we understand. So it's like really up in the air.
Welcome back to the conclusion of our program. Brooke had been struggling to have a second child and finally succeeded in getting pregnant. But then she learned that the baby she is carrying has a fatal birth defect. Now Brooke and her husband must choose: terminate the pregnancy or have the child.
She just started bawling, screaming that she has it.
They discovered that Brooke's fetus that she's carrying has trisomy 18, which means it has an extra 18th chromosome.
All I remember is he called and he said, "She does have it. Do you want to terminate?" And I'm like, just couldn't quite comprehend what he was saying, because, the first words, "She does have it." I was devastated.
There are reported cases of babies that survive to a year of life or maybe longer, but they are profoundly mentally retarded. This baby will survive a very short period of time, measured in minutes, hours, or days.
I feel like it wasn't our decision to make when it was her time. I feel like it should be left in God's hands of when her time was.
We don't want to prolong anything. We want her to be here. We want her to be able to see us. We want to be able to see her. If we decided to terminate right then, we would never known what color her eyes were going to be, what color her hair was, you know, if it was straight or curly. To be able to have her there just for a little bit, even to hold her just for a little bit, it's going to be worth it.
Sometimes I feel selfish about what I'm doing, and, you know, that I have went ahead and carried her, you know, is that going to make her suffer more? Because we don't know that.
I'm not saying anybody that decides to terminate is wrong, but I feel myself and Brooke feel that just give them a chance, and you never know.
I am due July 11th.
So do they think you'll go to term or what?
No.
So
I've
what are
got a
they-
lot of fluid, so
Well, ever since we found out, I mean, everybody talks about what's wrong and the problems, but it's just things have went on. You know, we've still kept living our lives.
I am so excited. I can't wait for it to get here.
yeah.
And hold her and love her and I know she's going to be okay. I just know it. I mean, she says, I know that Marley will die, but I think sometimes as her mother, I think Brooke's in denial of thinking that just maybe, that God will heal her.
I feel like I've almost put up an emotional wall, not letting my emotions through, but I feel like I go day by day.